Okay, I'm going to try and do a small series of short videos to try and highlight some of the problems you face when you're buying a car, to try and keep you safe, to point you in the right direction, what you should look for in valuing a car, in looking around the car. But the first thing to do really is to check the paperwork, and that's easily done online. I'll go through these things, I'll show you how to do it. The first video I'm going to do is something that everybody should do. Now, in the old days, it used to be a HPI check to make sure that there weren't an insurance write-off, they weren't on finance, they hadn't been stolen, recovered, all pitfalls like that. And at one time, I think the main company was HPI, then Experian came along. However, HPI and Experian all use data from one single source, and that's the Motor Insurance Anti-Fraud and Theft Register. Now, it's come to light recently that there is a loophole. Although when a car is written off, they have to inform the DVLA, they don't have to inform MIAFTA, which is, it's absolutely ludicrous. So therefore, there's loads of cars coming back onto the market, not registered as insurance write-offs that should be. They're being repaired, in some cases being repaired and sold on, even at main dealers. There was a watchdog program on recently, and two of the biggest dealers had been caught out. Now, in the Auto Express article, it says that people aren't skilled enough these days to recognise write-offs, that cars have been involved in accidents and so on. Now, to put this in perspective, some people in dealerships aren't skilled enough to get a service stamp in the box, in the service book. So they're hardly going to be skilled enough to see what's had paintwork. Now, through the Freedom of Information disclosure, Auto Express highlighted a discrepancy in, let me just read this, in 2016-2017, 94,821 vehicles had been reported to the DVLA that hadn't been reported to MIAFTA. 95,000 vehicles, which a good percentage of them are going to get back on the road somehow. Some are just going to be used for spares, some are going to be used for scrap, some are going to get back on the road, and you possibly may end up buying one of them. Now, as I said before, some of them, they cannot be repaired to the proper standard because it would just be uneconomical to do the job properly. That's why the insurance companies write them off. So I've been going through the salvage auctions online. I've been going through eBay. I'll try and remember to cut this in, but one of them said something like easy home repair or easy DIY repair. Well, no, it wasn't. To me, a DIY repair is something that you can do on your drive or in your own garage at home. Not that involves a flipping welder or a jig, putting 3 or 4 panels on, respraying it. That is just misleading. And it's misleading in a way that is making, and also not on the HPI register. That's the big thing, because whoever buys that knows they can sell it, it's not going to be registered, and whereas a write-off, even when it's repaired, is probably worth at least 30 to 50% less than a proper car, this is going to be repaired and it's going to be worth the same amount if an unsuspecting salesman, sales manager, buyer, member of the public goes to buy it. they will be blissfully unaware. Last year, 91,156 cars weren't reported. They were reported to the DVLA, but they weren't reported to MIAFTA. It's not a legal requirement. At the moment, there's no legislation in place to make it a legal requirement, which this should be. It's just, I mean, it's potentially life-threatening. If you get somebody who hasn't repaired a vehicle properly and you buy it, and you know, the consequences don't bear thinking about. These cars shouldn't get back on the road. If they've been written off, they should be crushed, logbooks should be taken away, whatever. They shouldn't get back on the road. Now, just to give you an example of this, I've been talking to the guys from VCheck. It's very, very close to my heart, this subject. They are very, very clever guys. They've created a program which kind of searches through salvage auction sites. They've been going since 2015. Which is excellent. Unfortunately, before 2015, you're on your own. But as time goes on, their register will be more and more complete. As I say, there are people out there that are getting duped. They don't know it's been a write-off. But there are people out there that are buying write-offs, repairing them to a standard, and then selling them on the internet through various publications and retail sites. They know very well the write-offs, and they're selling them to the public, and they're pretending to be private sellers. So it doesn't matter where you're buying a vehicle from, whether it be me, whether it be a big dealer, and as I say, a couple of these are the biggest dealers you can probably get. I won't mention the names. I've worked for one of them, and I worked for one of them. I started at 8:30 in the morning. By 11 o'clock, I decided I'd had enough. I just the people there were unskilled. They were selling cars, not because they wanted to, not because they liked cars, because they couldn't do anything else. They couldn't sell cars properly, let alone. One of them came to me with a order form. I was a sales manager, it was my first day, and I thought, oh, this is a good start. And he came to me, he'd sold a Ford Fiesta, and he'd sold it for, say, £5,000. And I got busy checking the figures and the VAT, and I shouted him back over and I said, the VAT's wrong. How did you calculate that? He said, I copied it off another order form. Unfortunately, he copied the VAT off a car of a different price, and that's how stupid this particular guy was. He was a numbskull. He really was. So I'd been there probably an hour. Telephone went. First call. You the sales manager? Yes. You bastard. Okay, right. You're very perceptive, but I've only been here an hour. What's your problem? Can I sort it out? You sold my daughter, or your company sold my daughter a car, and you sold it to her as a new car. You charged her for 12 months tax. It was a used one. It was 4 months old, and it only had 6 months road tax on. So she's just been booked for not having a road tax on her car. So I got the invoice and dug the invoice out, and sure enough, that was the case. This young lady had been sold a pre-registered car. They'd pre-registered it to get the bonuses. They sold it as a brand new one. It had probably only done 10-15 miles, so it hadn't actually moved. It was probably a new car, but it had been pre-registered, so she was the second owner. As I say, they charged her for 12 months tax, and it had only got 6 months. In reality, it only got 2 months. So I said to this chap, okay, you did get a good deal. Do you want to keep the car? If I can sort it out, if I give you 12 months road tax, another 12 months road tax, would you be happy with that? And he said yes. So my boss, who'd given me the job or interviewed me and given me the job, I rang him and I said, this has happened. The lads have sold a car as new, and it was a used car, and went through the story. So I've told her that we'll pay for 12 months. I told him that we pay for 12 months road tax. And he says, well, you've no right. So I've no right. I said, I'm the used car sales manager, and I would have thought that was within my remit. Well, it's not. You better ring him and tell him that we're not paying for 12 months. And I said there and then, well, no, I'm not. I'm not going to ring him. Even if I have to pay for it myself, that person is entitled for 12 months road tax. So that's the standard. This is a main dealer, a big main dealer. Sell thousands of cars a year. That's the standard of management and salespeople. You get there. So don't think for one moment that they're telling you the truth. They're trying to sell you a car. Probably they're telling you to the best of their knowledge. Probably they're mostly guessing. Sometimes people ask you questions, you don't know the answer. Rather than look stupid, I mean, now I just say, hang on, I'll find out. But when I was younger, I probably didn't want to look stupid. I probably wanted to look like I knew everything, and I was God's gift to salesmen. So I'd probably guess. I don't know. So back to V-Check. Now, just the last couple of weeks, I've been looking on the internet, and I've been particularly looking for cars that I think people target cars that perhaps a young lady would buy, perhaps an older woman would buy, or perhaps somebody who's no real idea about cars, just wants something reliable, low mileage, thinks they're getting a good buy, and won't know anything about HPI, won't know anything about vcheck.uk. So, one in particular, I'll just show you how I searched. My girlfriend, she's got an Audi A1. It's about 4 years old. She'd probably be looking for a new one. So, here we go. So onto the search engine. There we go, Audi A1, there's 4,054 available, so we need to narrow that down. Take it down to 50 miles, and then if you search, you can go to more options. More options, 2018. She's got a 2015 car, it's got to be at least 2018, up to 5,000 miles. And here we go, we'll search. Now that's the sponsored adverts first, so we want a full picture. So from distance, and then there you go, lowest price. That's what everybody searches by. And now you see here the first one, Audi A1 1 litre TFSI, Cat S. That's a write-off. At well, I'll probably have to cover that up actually now I think about it. So the next one, here we go, Audi A1 1.4 TFSI. Well, she's got one of those at the moment. It's a sport, stop-start. It's only done 2,160 miles. So we'll click on that and have a look. Yep, nice red car. That looks. It's a private seller. That's good. That's perhaps why it's cheap. Here we go. We'll have a look through the spec. Oh yeah, all that looks okay. We'll have a look round. Full service history. Well, it's only done 2,000 miles, so, and now it says one owner. Full service history, one owner, £12,600 they want for it. So sometimes there's a bit of confusion as far as one owner. Sometimes on things like eBay, it's one previous owner. So you think it's one previous owner, but it's actually two. Now this says one owner. There's no ambiguity about that. It's one owner. Now the first thing I notice here on the seats, you see down there the stitching on the side of the seat doesn't look very good to me. I may be wrong. And again, it looks like it's got a crease inside the seat at the driver's side. 2,000 miles. I'm looking at certain things. It doesn't look. There's a couple of marks in it. Again, the driver's seat, the bolster there at the side, that's all crinkled for a 2,000 mile car. You do sometimes, if somebody's an extremely fat owner, you sometimes get there where they're squashed and they flatten the sponge, but that shouldn't happen in 2,000 miles. So I'll go all the way through there. Everything else looks right. Yeah, I've gone back to that, and I'm kind of a bit. The other thing, they've covered the reg up, a private seller covering the reg up, and now I don't understand that reason. I don't understand why it's. You put your telephone number on, but you cover the reg up, so that means I can't HPI a vehicle. However, on Auto Trader, they do a basic check now, and if we just have a look again, going back, full service history, red, one owner, 12,000 now. So we check on here, Auto Trader vehicle check, stolen, clear, category C, D, S and N, clear, exported, clear, scrap, clear, imported. So for the rest of the checks, you have to buy the full check, but that's an Experian check. But the main things you've got there. So if I was a private, and I hadn't just seen those other things, I might be tempted to just go and buy it. It's a cheap car. I happen to know the registration number of the car. So if we now go to VCheck, vcheck.uk, here we go, log in. And I search this vehicle. There we go, Audi A1, colour red, 2018. Fortunately, we have a deal with VCheck. Right, so it's a red Audi 2018, so that's okay. Then if you go down here, you can get a free report here, or you can pay £2. Now the £2, MOT, tax and status, MOT history and mileage, salvage auction history, and then you can go £4, MOT, tax status, MOT, salvage auction history, insurance write-off, police stolen check, and then the full check, £9. Get the full check. If I go to ours here and purchase now, here we go. Now this is the scary bit, and really it does scare me. So the first thing it says, keeper changes, salvage history warning. So vehicle details, well, it doesn't need an MOT yet. It's road text. There's some pictures here, and then we go to keeper changes. The second keeper, the current keeper, bought it on 31st of the 1st 2019. He's had it for 5 months. The first owner had it for 4 months. Here we go, salvage history found 1. Click to view. Right, this was in a salvage auction, and it was on the 10th of the 1st 2019. Now the change of owner was, I think, the 31st from memory. So view salvage records. Salvage details, category S, structural. Now that is just horrific. You look at the pictures, the driver's side steering wheel airbags deployed. The next one shows the wing has been knocked back into the driver's door, so that's had some. The front bumper is off completely. The passenger airbag has deployed and blown the dash out. The front here, the condenser there, oh no, sorry, that's the radiator. The condenser, the air conditioning condenser, is actually laying on the floor by the look of this. Yes, it is, it's there. So all the front end is off right up to the chassis legs. I'm just going to flip back to the beginning ones. Here we go. That shows you better. So there's the airbag come out, blown the centre out of the steering wheel. I mean, even there I can see stitches have come undone on the steering wheel as well, which that's, I wouldn't have thought that would have happened, but anyway, there you go. That's chipped the paint, knocked the front wing back into the door. Front panel is just laying on the floor. Blown the passenger airbag out of the dashboard completely. Front end off. Condenser line on the floor there. Radiator is bent. Now you'll also have, that you probably won't be able to see here, you'll have the airbag sensors. Usually they're around the suspension towers. Now they're a fortune. They're a fortune to buy. There you go. That's the front. Looks like the driver's door is pushed slightly back there. It may just be that it's actually open and not shut properly because of the front, but it looks like those two bits are at a different level. That's the front end there, taped up. Next one. There you go, that's obviously all smashed up there. The front panel, so it's a complete new panel. Wing, the bonnet smashed to pieces. The back looks relatively okay. Passenger wing, or near side wing is bent right the way back. And that shows you the chassis plate, which is one of the ways you can identify the vehicle, even though they've done the best to cover, you know, the guy who's selling it and the salvage company have done the best to hide the registration number. And there you go. I mean, that's just horrific. Let's just see. What does it say on the? Oh no, of course it won't say anything on the speedo. It's digital. But I mean, would you buy that car? Now, on the salvage details there, it's showing it had only done 20 miles. I'm not sure whether it would have only done 20 miles, because normally they say most accidents happen within 100 yards of home, but that's not very far from the dealership from picking it up. It does happen. People with new cars, they're not used to them. They set off and worried about bumping it. That makes matters 10 times worse. But there you go. That's the car that's for sale on the internet. No mention of it being Cat S, even though the website checks it for Cat S, which is more than most people do. that's what you're going to get for £12,600 of your hard-earned money. It just shouldn't be allowed. So whoever you buy the car from, don't let it put you, don't think you're safe. We use V-Check on our cars. The big dealers, a lot of them don't. Hopefully they will start moving towards it and make these cars worthless, because whilst people can get away with doing this, these cars are bringing way more, and it's in the insurance company's interest for V-Check not to do this, because they get more money. They're actually losing less on a car, getting more through salvage auctions than it's worth in real terms. And the longer they get away with this, the longer there will be a discrepancy between the amount of cars that are write-offs, that are insurance payouts, and the cars that are actually reported to MIAFTA. Now, if it's reported to the DVLA, then you know it should be on the logbook. It should be permanently on the logbook. Anybody who gets a new logbook, some you see with a little section at the bottom. There should be a special logbook with Cat S, Cat N, whatever it is, right across it. Like you see these when it's a copy of something and they're trying to warn you. It should be right across. And I've checked several cars, and I'll put some photographs in at the end of this of cars that aren't showing on HPI, that are for sale. Some are from dealers that are a heck of a lot of money, and they're not listed. So be very careful. Always check. Don't think, oh, this is a nice guy, you know, I trust him. Don't, because there's a possibility that that nice guy doesn't know himself. So you make sure. And we'll move on to the next video in the series. I'm not sure what to do next. If you have any ideas that you'd like to know about, then let me know and I'll try and make a video of it. But until then, first thing, make sure it's not a write-off. There's some cars out there, and I've seen some cars that are absolute death traps. They've been bought, they've been repaired cheaply. It used to happen in the old days when people only had third-party insurance, so they got the mate. They had a bump, so they got the mate to do it. And I've seen cars with chassis legs just banged in and spot welded. I've seen, I mean, you've probably seen cars going along the motorway, and they're going along the motorway like so. The chassis damage, the crabbing, you can see, or like so, they're from the driver's side, a car in front of you. When you can see all the driver's side and you're behind him, then you know there's something wrong. Those cars, they just shouldn't be allowed on the road. So keep a lookout. Let's get these cars stamped out. Let's get them in the scrapyard where they belong, and keep everybody safe. As I say, that's a young girl's car. I have spent too much time informing young ladies, especially, that the car's been a write-off in the past. They've bought it privately from a private seller who is usually a car trader, who just doesn't pay tax or VAT or give a toss about whether your car is a decent car or not. So vcheck.co.uk. This is an unpaid advert for them, an unpaid testimonial, but I wanted to do this years ago. I wasn't clever enough to do it. They were. Every credit to them. everybody, HPI, the whole lot should employ this system, and more power to them. Great job, guys. From an old motor trader, thank you. We've needed this for years. Thank you very much. If you do a V-check, if you put in GG Cars as the voucher, you'll get 10% off, and they've very kindly done that for us. We don't make any money out of it whatsoever. Although we've got an affiliate site that we make money from certain people, we don't make money out of this. It's more important to get these cars off the road. See you in the next video.